Anytime you're ready. Good. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today, our Heritage Board meeting for November 28th. We have Councillor Yankoff and Aaron Stavert are online. Hello, folks. And we have Wayne and Simon here.
Hello.
And Councillor McCabe and myself. So we do have quorum, and we'll get right into the agenda. Call the meeting to order. Declarations of conflict of interest. I see none, thank you. And just to remind everyone, when you are going to speak, to press your red button and shut it off when you're done, please, and thank you. So approval of the agenda, I believe.
Yeah, we would like to add one item to the agenda if we could. It's an application to demolish an accessory building at 128 to 132 Water Street.
32 Water. Okay. Everybody okay with that? We're good? Good, okay, good enough. So I'll need an approval for the agenda. Moved by Councilor McCabe, seconded by Simon. Thank you. Everybody that's in favor, please raise your hand. And we have Aaron, you okay?
I'm good.
Good. And Alana?
I'm in favor.
Good, thank you. So moving on to the adoption of the minutes, I'll need approval for the minutes of Monday, October 31st, 2022. Moved by Simon, seconded by Councilor McCabe. All those in favor? Good. Councilor Yankoff?
In favor.
Okay, and Aaron?
Yeah, aye. In favor.
Good, thank you. Okay, business arising from the minutes, if any. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to reports. Our first one is 21 Prince Street, PID number 336000, or sorry, 2 zeros and an 8. That's 336008, sorry, folks. Okay, who's got, Alex, you don't, no, you have that?
Yeah, so this
Okay.
is a request to install a new metal roof to replace the existing asphalt roof. The property's on the west side of Prince Street between King and Water. It is zoned downtown neighborhood. It's in an area next to downtown mixed-use neighborhood and just above the waterfront zone. There are a number of designated, fairly high concentration of designated properties in the area, as well as it's in the 500 lot zone. So the application is for a new metal roof. It's Mallett's Premium Metal Roofing, which is an island-made product. They're proposing it in Regent Gray with a standing seam hidden fastener and 28 gauge steel. The building is a portion of the Wesleyan Methodist Chapel, and it was moved to the location in 1865 from Richmond Street. It has had an asphalt roof. Typically, a building of that era would have started with a metal shingle roof. So this is one of the older homes on Prince Street and helps to define the whole character of the area. So as of November 7th, the asphalt roof was still in place. By November 24th, the metal roof has been installed. Typically, the standing seam or the ribbed metal roof is not supported on a heritage property. Most of the guidelines suggest that a roof that is readily visible should have an alternative material that would closely match the scale, texture, coloration of a historic roof. Asphalt shingles actually make a reasonable substitute material because you do see the same pattern that you would see, and you see sort of that type of texture that you would see with a traditional wood roof. We have approved a few metal roofs in the past where they have more of that texture. They're just not the ribbed metal roofing. So those are examples of the metal roof that we have approved in the past. And this is the sample that the application is for this ribbed roofing. I think that's all.
I'm just looking at this photo, Todd, and if you see that blue building in behind, beside, to the left of the green building, is that the same roofing that's on this? Because it looks like it's that same metal roofing. When I'm looking in, not at the actual one, I'm looking at,
Maybe, I'm not sure, 100% sure.
okay, no, that just, I caught my eye.
Certainly, the one next door has the ribbed roofing on it. The one next door is not a designated property. This one is a designated property. Might be the difference as well.
Okay, for me, it does take away the heritage look for sure. Very industrial looking from my point of view, but you know, there are so many nice products out there that, especially metal, that resemble shingles. It's too bad. But anyway, so is there going to be any more discussion on that, or are we? That's pretty well it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. So I guess I'll be looking for motions. So Planning and Heritage Department's recommendation is to reject this application. So I don't know, any other debate on that, or do we just want to go right to the motion?
But the work's done, right? Sorry, Simon, the work's done? The work's already complete?
Yes, the work is done.
What's the process after we reject it? If they'll just, somebody going to follow up with them, or?
If it were to be rejected, we would check with our legal counsel. There are provisions where fines could be imposed up to $20,000.
Yeah, so,
I'll put forward a motion to reject the
okay, moved by
roof as
Simon
it sits.
to recommend the Heritage Board's recommendation of rejecting the application. Do I have a seconder?
Can I just ask a question, or
You
will I
sure
wait
can.
till the motion's on the floor?
Sure can. We should,
Is there-
let me second it first, Councillor Yankoff, and then we can have more
Sure.
discussion. Okay, seconded by Wayne McKinnon, I believe. Right, so we have a mover and a seconder? Good, okay, so any more discussion, Councillor Yankoff?
Sure. I just wondered, maybe through the chair and maybe one of the staff could answer this. We have had on occasion other pieces of work that have been completed and the guidelines weren't followed, and we've come up with solutions and how we could work with the property owner. I'm just wondering what are options now? Do they actually just have to tear this material right off the roof and start again? Just out of curiosity, what is the process?
Well, I'll first just say that, you know, the first step of any process would be to have a permit. And I don't believe that has happened in this case. So that's what starts the ball rolling. You know, unfortunately, they went ahead and did the work without a permit.
Right. And no, I realize that they did. I'm just wondering, I know that how the process is that you normally get permission before you do something. But we have had on occasion other situations where things were done before the permission happened. And so I'm just wondering, so what's our path forward now? I know I heard Todd mention contacting legal counsel to see what the option was. I'm just wondering if we have an example of what we've done in the past.
I'm going to let Alex say a few words here, but I guess in other cases, I guess Elena too, a lot of them wasn't such a final thing as a roof. You know, it's pretty. If there's something, you know, maybe there's a recommendation from a roofing company that something could be done to make it look a little more heritage looking than industrial. But anyway, I'll let Alex say a few words here. Hang on.
Mr. Chair, all I can indicate is that, you know, if somebody's in violation of any rule or regulation, firstly, we inform them that they were seeking permission today, and that this is the first step for them. You will give direction today. We'll get back to them and say what the direction of the board was today, and then just indicating that, we're obligated to follow up to bring it into compliance. If they have some solution, we may come back to you, but if they don't have any solution, I mean, it's our job to try to work with our solicitors to gain compliance or to come back to this board with something that may be more favorable for the board to either support, but I guess they were looking for relief today on that issue by coming to this board, and the first step is to get a decision. When we get that today, we will follow up as best we can in regard to, notifying them that, that we cannot issue them a permit under the existing circumstances. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask for a point of clarification on process?
Sure.
Alex, can you just confirm that for the purposes of the conversation today and for our minutes, that this is the first time that they've sought direction on roof replacement after it was done, or was there earlier conversations?
They applied prior to, was it November 4th here? Or sorry, November 7th. They made application prior to that, but this is the first time we've done it, and they knew they didn't have a permit. Their permit's dated November 14th, actually.
Okay, so is that good, Sue?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, good. Okay, just good to clear. And Councillor McCabe?
And I know the mandate of this board is to maintain our heritage designations within the city. And I guess I'm struggling with a couple things only because Fiona hit and there was roof damage and people probably needed to get something up in order to maintain the inside of their building without causing more problems at that point, and we don't know the situation. They did actually apply for a permit. We probably didn't get here fast enough, because if it was my roof, I'd be doing the repair work necessary too, if it meant that. The second thing is I'm interested in, when did skylights become part of heritage? Just curious.
Todd, do you want to answer that? Or?
I don't know the history of the skylights on that building. Yeah.
Excuse me, as far as heritage, there's lots of things about this building that probably don't meet criteria for heritage, and just
Yeah.
something
I
I
got-
noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I am sensing, that we want, we definitely want to try and work with these folks. But at the same time, if we started allowing metal roofs in the 500 area, then, and we don't say something here, then it's going to be wide open, right? And we're also saying, okay, it's okay to do it without a permit too, right? I mean, an application is one thing, a permit is another. So I think we need to send the message back that you just can't do this. But at the same time, I think Alex and staff will work with them to try and come up with a possible solution. Nobody wants to get into the legal and fining and that aspect of it. So I think once everything gets explained and they hear what the board has to say today, I'm sure we'll find an answer and a solution to this.
And I agree, Councillor MacLeod, and I do agree that, I know we can fine up to a maximum of $20,000, but maybe there's some way around teaching someone that they need to follow process in a different way without killing people in this time. Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other comments, concerns on the motion? So we have a motion to reject, and with the idea that staff will reach out and explain the process, especially after hearing our recommendation, and then hopefully in the future we'll hear something that's going to work for both sides. Okay, so the motion is there. All those in favor of the motion to reject, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Councillor Yankoff?
In favor.
And Aaron?
In favor as well.
Good. Thank you very much. These I just want to appreciate, these are tough decisions, and I certainly appreciate everybody's comment and concern and weighing in on this, because sometimes it's just not a decision, right? We're affecting people's lives. So thank you very much, everybody, for the good decision making. Okay, so moving on from 6A to 6B, which is 110 Lower Malpeque Road, 388165, proposed amendment to the destination to allow for potential subdivision. So I believe, Todd, you have the floor.
Sure. So the site is located in what would have been a part of West Royalty. It's essentially on the intersection of Lower Malpeck Road and the arterial highway. It's zoned single-family residential. And historically, it was part of the Mayflower Mill site. The property with the house is dated to about 1870, and the mill is now gone, but the house remains, and it just reminds us of that part of the city's history. This is an image of it with the mill behind the house from Meacham's Atlas. The house is a Second Empire-style home. We have a number of other ones around the city as well. So right now, it sits on a parcel that's about 4.4 acres in size. Originally, originally, it would have been made up of a number of, all of these original lots were 12 acres each, so it contained at least 4 of those. So it's been reduced considerably already in size. And typically, those were really, the properties in the royalties were more estate properties, so they were more dependent on the size of the parcel that was associated with them. So we have a proposal here to subdivide the parcel and leave the existing house on one lot and then develop another 22 individual lots and also retain a buffer zone along Lower Malpeck Road. So throughout the 70s, the area around the property was subdivided, and lots that border onto this property range from 0.26 to 0.32 acres in size, or an average of size of 0.32. And the proposed site, the lots there range from 0.07 to 0.22 acres in size for an average of 0.15 acres. In the report, I've listed a number of other designated properties in the royalties and their acreage, which, typically are about 1.94, 5.75, 1.27. So in essence, this subdivision would remove 86% of the property associated with the house currently, and would result in 22 extra lots, all of which are smaller in size than the existing neighboring properties. The property, the reason it's designated is really that it speaks to sort of the agricultural and industrial part of the royalties, and the farming community up until the 1970s. And so we're suggesting that the reduction in the size of the property associated with the house that remains is really too small to maintain that sense of a royalty in the, or to the sort of an estate-like property in the royalties. Once the property is subdivided, it would just be the parcel of land that would be associated with the house that would retain the designation. So the development of the rest of the subdivision would not be coming to Heritage Board. But it would still have to pass through the planning process, and right now it would need a public meeting to do that. So that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess I'll open the floor up for now for questions or concerns or statements, if anyone has any. So you mentioned, so what we're seeing there now in the picture, Todd, that'll all become buffer area there. So the house will no longer, like when you say buffer, would there be trees growing up and all? That's probably what they're thinking, is it?
On the preliminary site map that they provided, they would provide a buffer along the road edge, and the house would be tight to the buffer zone, and the street coming in would be what we would see on this, it would come in somewhere here.
Okay, so you would see the house from the new street coming in?
You would,
You would, okay.
yeah. The new street.
The existing driveway is further down in the lot then? Or is it even coming off the, because it does have quite a long, grand
Yep.
driveway up to it, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, so where does the driveway come out now? Like it comes out,
I wonder.
oh, okay, there it is, yeah.
Right at the edge
So
of the
you can
lot.
see it come in here? So it's right at the edge of the property where it comes into Lower Malpeck Road.
Right. Okay.
Because I think that offers a lot of appeal to its stateliness, you know, as you come up the long drive.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Aaron, we're having trouble hearing you though.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to speak
That's-
up a little bit.
that's good there.
I just feel like, I understand, obviously, the development pressures that exist on these kind of large parcels within the municipality. But I do have to say that I think this is, I'll call it the extreme end, the extreme other end of it. It's very clearly trying to put as many potential lots as they possibly can in there. I don't think it's thought about in terms of how to actually plan that entire property in a tasteful way. It's just how many lots can we get in? Do they meet the requirements of the bylaws, the street frontage requirements, and then what do we have left over? And I think there's a middle ground somewhere that I think that, you know, that the land potentially should be intensified, but I think this is a really poor attempt at trying to do that, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron. That's a good point of interest there, because as I get looking at I guess, Todd, I'll ask you first. So I think we said 88% of the total property would be taken up. Is there a certain percentage that we'd like to see? That's a tough one, I know.
It is a tough one. I had met with the applicant earlier and suggested that the board may not be opposed to subdividing the property, but perhaps to leave a greater portion with the designated house itself. And he wanted to try this method first.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had said that some of the other properties that were similar to it, it was about an acre and a half was sort of on average of what was left with them?
Belmont is 1.94 acres, which is really tight. Binstead is 5.75, which is really quite grand. I would suggest it's somewhere in there. You know, even if this parcel were, you know, divided into 4 or 6 properties, it would be quite lovely, you know, or a larger parcel and some reasonable sized other lots.
Okay. Any other comments, Councillor McCabe?
I'm just going to concur. I concur with what Aaron Stavert said, and I think they might have to go back and look at a plan. So I'm going to move forward with the recommendation to support staff recommendation to reject this application.
Okay, and that was a motion? Okay, so I have a mover
I'll second that.
and seconded by Councillor Hancock that we go with staff's recommendation of rejecting this particular application. So we do have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3. Councillor Yankoff
In favor.
in favor, and Aaron.
In favor.
Okay, that's everyone. So we'll send this back to the staff to talk to the applicant. Thank you very much. So we do have one added application, 128, 132 Water, and it was a permit to demolish, and I'll leave it up to Todd. Thank you.
Sure. So 128 to 132 Water Street falls between Prince Street and Great George Street. Backs onto the parking lot in front of Confederation Landing Park. And it is a request to demolish an existing boat shed. It is 40 feet in length by 16 feet wide. It's too suffered some damage from Fiona. It's a wood frame structure. And we know from the 1917 insurance map, it was not there in 1917. From a 1925 aerial view, it was not there. And from a aerial view taken somewhere between 1958 and 64, it was not there. So we know it's a little bit newer of a structure. And so we're recommending that the application be approved.
It certainly does look older. Any comments, concerns, or do we want to go right to the motion?
I'll just move the motion that we accept Todd's recommendation.
Moved by Councilor McCabe that we go ahead with the permit, staff's recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Simon seconded? Okay. So you heard the motion. Everyone in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, and Aaron?
Aye. In favor.
I didn't hear. You there, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
He was in favor, sorry. Sorry, my fault. And Councilor Yankoff?
In favor.
Okay, so that moves that motion on. And outside of that, I guess, outside of no more reports, any new business? Outside of, I guess I'll just make a comment that this will be my last Heritage Board meeting, unfortunately. But at the same time, things happen for a reason, so I'm sure there'll be some bigger and better things you'll hear from me before I'm all done with this stuff. But anyways, thank you very much, everybody. Like I said here earlier, some of these decisions, it does affect people's lives, and I do appreciate your concerns and your interest in doing such. So, and to staff, again, can't say enough. You guys are awesome. So thank you very much, and I'll need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor McCabe, seconded by Wayne McKinnon. All those in favor of the motion? Good. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day.
Favor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.